Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi.
It's 7 a.m. The skies and shine. Sun talks money, the future blood. Grab your coffee, let's take a ride. It's wealth and wisdom, time will rise. Author, Mr. Educator, team sharing the wealth building things you should do. From trust to breaking, it's all a must. Your guide to wealth is money and trust. Legacy matters, secure it right. Dreams take shape with every insight. Rules and assets, life insurance plans. Building for your future with expert hands. Sometimes money and more. Raising wealth with knowledge galore. Asset protection, plans to grow. Tune in and watch your dreams overflow. Preparing today, you trust for life. Breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, banking tips. We're here to help your fortune eclipse. Preparing today, you trust for life. Breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, banking tips. We're here to help your fortune eclipse. And now it's time to learn. So wisdom's your return. Invest, protect, and thrive for sure. Signing off is gold, top money and more.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another episode of So Talks Money and More. I am your host, Dr. Sabrina Edmon Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted, and I am so excited and so delighted to be here today. This, the fourth Monday in December? And it is the week of Christmas, you guys. My, how 2025 has quickly passed away. And with that in mind, we're sitting here looking straight at 2026, and we've got to start talking about what the plan is for 2026, okay? So today's show is titled From Spending to Sustaining Wealth. Making money moves in 2026. Now, this conversation is definitely timely, and as we are standing right at the edge of a new year, and the question before us is simple but sobering. Are we just spending money? Or are we building something that will last? Now, I see that we have some of our YouTube viewing audience that's joining us. Come on in the room. Facebook, come on in the room. And of course, our WMPR and our WGDQ listening audience, we want you to tune in because this is a very important conversation. And you know how we do it over here. We're talking money and more. And today we are talking about this idea of transitioning from simply spending to developing a wealth building plan, a sustainable wealth building plans. So my question to you, my audience, whether you're in my viewing audience or my listening audience, is what are your money moves for 2026? Are you making any money moves for 2026? Go ahead and drop something in the chat for me. Come on, be a part of this discussion this morning. What are we doing in 2026? Now, Black America, as we know, is one of the most powerful consumer groups in the United States. Here's the stats. By 2026, Black buying power is projected to exceed, get this, $2 trillion, and that's trillion with a T now, $2 trillion annually. Now, that's not pocket change. That is not pocket change. At least that's not in my pocket. Let's put it like that. That's not even in my budget, y'all. $2 trillion. That's not pocket change. That actually is economic influence if we wield our power the right way. Yet, here's the paradox in all of this. Despite the massive spending power that we have, Black families on average hold significantly less wealth than any other racial groups in America. How is that even possible, you guys? We putting that kind of money into the economy, but we don't have nothing, okay? Our buying power is significant. Buying power, for those that may be wondering, is how much money flows through our hands. So if we're able to put $2 trillion in the economy, that means there's a whole lot of money flowing through our hands. Now, the difference between what's flowing through our hands and wealth is that wealth is not what's just flowing through our hands, it's what stays in our hands. What stays, grows, and transfers. And you know, Dr. Williams has been on this mission to educate our community about how to build, protect, and properly transfer this thing called wealth. Okay. So this show today is about shifting from movement, because money is moving through our hands, to momentum, from spending to sustaining wealth. Now, if you're just joining us this morning, come on, get your coffee. We don't want you to miss out on a thing this morning. We're talking about moving from spending to sustaining wealth and making money moves in 2026. And my question to you, our viewing audience, our listening audience, is what are your plans? What are your money moves for 2026? Now, I got to challenge you to think about something. You know, we sat right here at the end of 2024 and we talked about this idea of making some different moves and decisions so that our outcome at the end of 2025 would be a lot different from 2024. Because as you guys may recall, in 2024, we were bracing ourselves. We didn't know what 2025 was going to bring for us. You know, we had a presidential election in 2024, and we all know the outcome. I'm not gonna sound, there's not much to say about that. We're living it. It's our lived experience. No, so a lot of people were very uneasy going into 2025. We didn't know what it would bring. Well, as many of us predicted, it has brought some significant changes, particularly in the Black community. You know, we've seen a lot of loss, job losses. Black women have lost over 300,000 jobs since January of 2025. It's a lot of loss that we have experienced. We have experienced these changes in our healthcare situation. We have experienced the longest shutdown of our government in the history of our United States of America. We have experienced a lot of change, you guys. You know that. But my question is, how has that impacted us on an individual level? Because sometimes we become so overwhelmed by the things that are going on around us that we don't pause and stop and think about the things that we do have control over. We get so caught up in those things that we have absolutely no control over. We cannot control what's going on in the White House. We can't control what Congress does or does not do. But we can control whether we are spending or doing something to sustain wealth. We can control that. Now, spending ends the movement of money. You know, it comes into our hands and it flows right out. It is that movement, okay? Wealth actually begins when money is positioned to work after you do, okay? After you do. So you make the money and you don't just spend it, you position it so that long after you stop working, your money continues to work. You know, in my household, I'm going to make this personal. We have experienced a shift recently. My husband, after working for 23 years with his employer, decided to take early retirement. And so for our household personally, we are looking at ways and talking about ways and have been doing some things to make sure that our money is working for us now that my husband is no longer working. So I can make it personal, and I challenge you to do the same. Now, wealth is built, you guys, through assets. A lot of things we think are assets are really not assets, you know? And it bothers me. It really does bother me, you guys, when I see our people constantly putting their money into things that are not assets. Now, what are you talking about, Dr. Williams? Let me give you a few examples. And if I'm going to tell you like the preacher says, if I step on your toe, if I'm on your road, just say ouch, okay? Because this show and this platform is about us learning. When we know better, we are challenged to do better. We want to grow better. So let's think about this thing. A house. Many of us think, and we've been told our house is our greatest asset, the greatest asset that most of us, especially, I guess, particularly in the Black community, the greatest assets that most of us will ever own. But is a house really an asset? An asset. How do you define an asset? An asset is something that brings money into your household. Okay? Brings money into your household. Now, I want you to think about your house. If you pay a mortgage, money is leaving your household. It's going out of your household. You pay these things called property taxes. Well, you better pay them if you want to keep your property. Money is flowing out of your household. You pay this thing called insurance. Money is flowing out of your household. You pay this thing called maintenance and upkeep on your house. Money is flowing out of your household. Do I hear any money? Have y'all heard any money flowing into your household? Well, you may say, well, Dr. Williams, that money that I earn when I go to work, it comes into the household. Yeah, it's coming into the household, but it's flowing right back out. And remember, we talked about that. That's called spending money. That's not called wealth building, okay? So I know that in many circles, and depending on who you're listening to, they'll tell you your house is your greatest asset. But I want you to challenge that thinking. What is the house bringing into your pocket? Okay. Now, there is something, right? And I want those people that are thinking to think about this thing called equity. Yeah, equity is building in your home, but what are you doing with the equity? Is the equity in your home generating any wealth for you? In most instances, the answer to that question is absolutely not. Absolutely not, because we sit on it. We don't do anything with it. We don't invest it. We don't make it grow any. So it's not really benefiting us. So although, yeah, a house in some circles could be viewed as an asset, is it really an asset? I want you to think about that. Now let's move on from the inside of the house to the garage. Let's talk about all these cars. Now, again, before y'all eat me up in the chat, I am not a hater. Anybody can drive whatever their hearts desire. Drive what you will. Drive the best of whatever you can drive. Okay? Because we can't do nothing else with these things once we leave here. We can't take them with us. Enjoy your luxury vehicles, your nice cars. But I want you to think about something. Are these cars really assets to us? Okay, you pay the car payment. Now, on these newer vehicles, some of these car payments are as much as mortgages for some of us. They are very expensive, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 vehicles. Okay, all right. So that money is flowing out when you make that car payment. Insurance money is flowing out every time you have to go to the auto repair person, like our friend Big Chris over there on Highway 80. Shout out to you, Big Chris. But every time you roll through Big Chris gonna give you that bill. He wants to be paid. Money is flowing out every time you need a new set of tires. Money is flowing out. So is your car really an asset? Is it appreciating in value or is it depreciating in value? Now, a car can be an asset to you. How and when? Are you doing any driving for pay? Are you an Uber driver? Are you a Lyft driver? Is the car bringing money into you? Are you renting your cars out? Okay. Through Turo, it can be an asset, but the way most of us use our vehicles, they're not assets to us. They're not assets to us. I'm going to leave the garage and I'm going to go on back into the house. Let's go past the closet. Okay. Many of us, and as I minister to you all, don't get me wrong. I'm not being judgmental here. We say when you know better, you do better. Dr. Williams has been guilty of some things throughout her lifetime, but I have corrected some things as well, you guys. Let's go in that closet. Now, many of us, and y'all men, I know y'all say this all to us all the time, and sometimes we don't listen to you, but you got a valid point. Some of us ladies carry purses that are very nice purses and very expensive purses, but are they really assets to you? Are they really generating anything other than some nice looks and some nice compliments? Are they really generating anything for you? Most of the time, the answer is no, unless you are that person that invests in nice luxury bags and sells them or resells them. Yeah, then perhaps. But if you're just the one that wants to have a new bag, a different bag for every outfit that coordinates with every outfit that you have, no, that bag is not generating any wealth. It is not an asset. I think we've made the point of what are not assets. Let's move on to what are assets. Okay, wealth is built through assets. Things like ownership. Equity can be an asset if you are using it properly. Investment, businesses, and real estate that you are using to generate income. Okay. If all of our financial energy goes toward consumption, there is nothing left to compound. There's no way that we can build any wealth if we are constantly spending, consuming. Now, I want to shift gears here. If you're just tuning in this morning, come on in the room. I see you, YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in to So Talks Money this morning. We are talking about a shift from spending to sustaining wealth, making money moves in 2026. Now, if you go and you do any research, you sit back, you listen to the people that are in the know when it comes to wealth and wealth building, they'll tell you there's a shift coming. We got a lot of wealth that is being transferred right now. And the question that you should be asking yourself is, what side of the wealth transfer, what side of that shift am I going to be on? Am I going to be the one that is continuously letting money flow out of my hand into someone else's hands? Or am I going to put forth a plan, put some things in place so that money flows into my hand, into my household? So come on into the conversation. We would love to hear from you. Go ahead, as I say, those that are viewing us on social media, drop something in the chat. Don't be afraid. Talk about it. If you don't have a plan, if you have not thought about your plan, there's no shame. Be willing to admit it, because we are here today to enlighten, to heighten awareness so that we can all move differently going into the new year. Now, let's talk about the wealth gap, because there is a huge wealth gap, and ignoring the data does not change outcomes, not at all. National data consistently shows that the median white household has multiple times the wealth of the median Black household. This gap is not simply about income, though. It's about home ownership, business ownership, investment participation, and lean in, listen to me closely. It's also about inheritance. And y'all know that's what Dr. Williams talks about all the time. What are we passing on to our children? What are we passing on? We discussed this morning. This discussion is not about shaming anyone, but it is about teaching us how to strategize. Because again, when we know better, we can do better, we can. Now, wealth grows when money is placed into, as I say, appreciating or income producing assets. What are some of the key investment paths that are out there? What are some of those, Dr. Williams? Where do I need to be putting my money? Where should I be looking at? Okay. Well, I know a lot of people are afraid of the stock market, but guess what? People making money in the stock market every day. I promise they are, you guys. They are. Now, a lot of people find the stock market intimidating, but here's my challenge to you. Let's do something different with our time in 2026. Let's do something different. Instead of picking up that phone and going on YouTube and watching the latest videos and, the gossip stuff and, what's going on in Hollywood and all of that nice stuff, let's go over there and tune into those videos that teach us and talk about how to invest and how to set up platforms and how to do those things wisely. Let's talk about that. Participation in long-term market growth is something that we all need to learn how to do. Now, many of us, I'm not a soda drinker, but many of us drink sodas all the time, or whatever you want to call them. I know some of us call them sodas, some of us call them drinks, some of us call them pops, whatever you want to call them. Okay, we drink them. Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, all these different companies. Well, guess what? Those companies pay dividends when you invest in their stock. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great to get something back? Especially people that drink a lot of soda. And I'm not necessarily encouraging that by any means, because it's not, all that sugar is not good for us. But think about how much money is flowing out of your hands. Every time you go to the grocery store or to Walmart or wherever you choose to shop and you purchase all of these items, okay, you're taking money, putting it into somebody else's pocket. What's flowing into yours? So if nothing else, these products that we patronize, let's start thinking about becoming part owner in these companies by purchasing a share or two of their stock. Okay? Real estate. Real estate is another great way to wealth building. In fact, most people that are very wealthy either made their money in real estate or they hold a significant portion of their wealth in real estate. Now, I stayed up long enough last night to catch just a short portion of the Netflix documentary that Dave Chappelle has out. I think it's called Unstoppable. I'm not promoting it. I'm simply saying I'm using this for illustrative purposes. One of the things that I do remember him saying is that he purchased he is the owner of a significant portion of land in, I believe it's Cleveland, Ohio. In fact, he said he purchased almost the whole town. He owns almost the whole town. I remember reading something recently about, I want to say Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. I think he owns a significant portion of land in Louisiana. Land ownership, home ownership. You guys, we have got to start doing something different with our resources other than taking them directly out of our hands and putting them into someone else's hand and spending them on things that don't appreciate. Business ownership, that's another pathway to wealth building. Now, I want y'all to go back. And again, I'm not being judgmental, but I am saying this to challenge us to think about something. Back during the pandemic, the government stepped in to quote unquote save us from, ourselves, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, they stepped in with these PPP loans and, different resources and avenues for putting money into business entities. They even stepped in and they put money into hands of people that didn't own businesses. I think they got $600, $1,200 checks. Okay. It's amazing how many people became really creative and became instant business owners when they heard about that $25,000. I think wasn't that the PPP limit, 25,000. People started. You had caterers, you had florists, you had all kind of different business entities created just to be able to take advantage of that moment. I think it would be interesting to know how many of those quote unquote businesses are still in existence today. Not judging, I'm just asking a question because the reality is that truly is a pathway. that we as a community really need to be on. Okay. I am a firm believer, and I can't express my opinion, y'all, because this is my show. I'm a firm believer that every Black family needs their own family business, period. Okay. I'm going to pause and let that sink in. Every Black family needs a family business. If for nothing else but to position yourselves to take advantage of favorable tax laws for business owners. Okay. We got to stop paying folks to tell us how much we got to pay folks. And that's exactly what happens when you don't own a business and you pay your taxes as an individual. You don't believe me? Go get that big old tax code and read through it. And you will find that there are all kind of, as they call them, loopholes. Now, they ain't loopholes. They in the tax code. Just because you don't know they're there, just because I don't know they're there, trust me, there are some folks that know that they are there. But one of the problems is we don't use the type of tax professionals that can help us truly benefit from those tax advantages that are there. Okay. So business ownership, and they're not there for individuals. And don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to confuse you. They are not there for individuals to take advantage of. They are there for business owners. Hence why Dr. Williams says every Black family needs to own their own business. And then other alternative investment vehicles. We do need to look at that. The goal, you guys, is not perfection. The goal is participation with intention. Now I got to move on because we're quickly approaching our break time, and we're going to bring a guest on in the second half hour of the show. We talk about financial literacy and how all of this is truly the missing link to why we are not able to make this shift and to make money moves in 2026. It's because we're missing some things. Financial literacy. Money without knowledge is vulnerable. Okay. As I minister to you, I minister unto myself. It is so true. When we don't know, we can make some very, very expensive mistakes. Financial literacy is not about being rich. It's not. It's about being informed enough to avoid costly mistakes. It includes understanding credit and interest, understanding how investments work, and understanding, what did I just talk about? Taxes and cash flow, understanding insurance and estate planning. We talked about insurance for the entire month of September. We did a whole month on estate planning in October. We are talking about these things here on Soul Talks Money and More. Financial literacy is so important. Historically, Black communities have been marketed to more than they have been educated. Let that sink in. Everybody takes advantage of our community. Everybody. But financial literacy shifts people, it shifts us from survival mode into strategy mode. And that's what we want to do in 2026. It's time for us to make a change in how we are handling our finances. But we got to talk about mindset, because that's where it starts, in the mind. We finance cars, clothes, and convenience. Yeah, I said it, and I'll say it again, so lean in case you didn't hear me the first time. We finance cars, clothes, and convenience. But we hesitate when it comes to investing in our education that could save us thousands of dollars. And I'm not talking about that education we pay to these fine institutions. I love, I know y'all love because I love my Southern University. I do. But I'm not talking about that, because the type of education that we are missing, we're not getting at these institutions. We don't get that at these institutions. We learn a lot of times through our mistakes, through life, okay? Financial education is not a cost. Because that's the first thing we ask when people start talking about these courses or books. My book, first thing people ask me, how much does it cost? We don't look at it as a cost. We should be looking at it as what's the investment? Because it has long-term benefits if you actually implement the information. Now, want to talk about two different organizations quickly, and then we're going to go to break here. The Black Business School, which is founded by my friend, Dr. Boyce Watkins. You guys have heard me mention Dr. Watkins before, who is a PhD finance professor that taught at Syracuse University. And he actually said, why am I teaching over here at this university when my people really need the education that I have? So he literally started his own school, the Black Business School, and it focuses on financial literacy, stock market education, business ownership, and economic empowerment in the Black community. Now, if you listen to Dr. Boyce, he'll say it quick. I'm not anti anybody else. I'm just pro-Black. I want my people to come up, to rise. So that's a resource for you. That is a resource for you. Go use it. Please go use it. And know that, yes, there is a cost. But the thing is, we don't need to be worried about the cost. We need to look at it as an investment because, as I say, we finance everything else: cars, clothes, and convenience. Okay? Operation Hope, founded by Mr. John Hope Bryant. It's a nonprofit organization. It provides practical financial education, credit coaching, and entrepreneurship support in underserved communities nationwide. Education shortens the learning curve, you guys, and reduces expensive mistakes. And we want to encourage our community as we are making a shift from 2025 to 2026 to shift our mindset and shift what we are doing with our money. Now, with that being said, we're going to go to a quick break here because on the other side of the break, I have a special in-studio guest this morning that is going to be talking to us about a project that she is working on. I am so excited to have her join me here in the studio. And if you give me just a second, and then Mr. Jones, act right over there. We won't be long. We won't tarry long. Come on, Mr. Jones. All right.
Hello, this is Dr. Sabrina Edmon Williams, educator, author, investor, and host of So Talk Money and More. You are invited to start your listening at 7 a.m. on Mondays, right here at WMPR 91 FM or online at WMPR941.com as we educate, enlighten, inform, and empower our community about the importance of building, protecting, and transferring wealth. If it's Monday, so is talking money and more. So Talk Money and More is a proud underwriter of WMPR 90.1 FM.
All right. Are we back live? Yes, we are. All right. See that Mr. Jones can act right when you ask him nicely. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, good morning. Good morning. If you are just tuning in this morning, you have reached So Talks Money and More. And my question is, where y'all been? We started at 7 a.m. Y'all know what my song say, 7 a.m. Grab that coffee and come on. We are glad to have you join us this morning because we're talking about the future. We're not talking about where we've been, not where we are. We're talking about where we're going. We are talking some good stuff over here. What are we thinking about in 2026? What type of money moves are we making in 2026? Now, while we were on break, we transitioned. I have an in-studio guest this morning, and I am so excited and delighted to have this young lady sitting right here with me this morning, sharing my platform. Now, I got to give you a little backstory. So most of you know that have been following my journey, you know that I am an author. And, I have my book on Amazon. The digital version of the book is actually on Amazon. And so because I do a lot of in-person events, I sometimes forget that I have that digital version over there on Amazon. Well, a few months or so ago, I got my very first Amazon review. And I was so excited that I got my very first Amazon review. And it was so positive and encouraging. So I'm like, who is this person? She just made me feel like, let's say 100. I felt so good.
That's right.
She was so encouraging. So I reached out to her and we met and we've had lunch and, I've tossed them things, around with her. And she's been so supportive, so encouraging of my journey. Little did I know that she was on a journey of her own. And so lately I have seen her all over social media doing her little thing. And we are so excited this morning to welcome the Dr. Shonda Allen Hill.
Wow, this is amazing. Well, let me say this, you all. We have in this community a gold mine, okay? So Talks Money is our gold mine. And listen, you all, I want everybody to lean in. I won't be here long, but I just want to pop in just to kind of share a few things with us and a few things that are coming up. Number one, So Talks Money. If you are not listening and sharing and letting your friends and family know about this platform, you need to do it immediately. This is critical. Going into 2026, you all, So Talks Money is going to be I'm talking about here in Mississippi and the surrounding areas, this is going to be our major platform, go-to place.
Oh, wow.
Okay, for financial advice here in Mississippi. This is critical, you guys. So just lean on in. Listen, I am Dr. Shonda Allen Hill, and I am so excited to be here. A few years ago, more than a few years ago, I was working at the amazing Jackson State University, loved every bit of it. I felt, though, that it was time for me to retire. I wasn't quite 50 yet at the time, and I just knew, though, it was time. And so the first thing that you want to invest in is not S&P, it's S&Me.
Hold on, wait, Dr. Hill. Slow down. We got to repeat that for the folks that's just getting up, turning on their radio this morning. The first investment should be in what now? Not
S&P. Okay. It needs to be S&Me.
Okay.
That's the first investment.
So what exactly does that mean?
Let me tell you what it means. It means that you need to invest in your mental capacity to catch up in financial areas that you are not versed in. You need to hop out there and say, listen, if my credit is bad, number one is ask the question. In 2026, it's not the answer that we need to know. We don't need to know all the answers. You need to ask great questions. And the first ones are to yourself.
Okay.
Why am I in debt? You got to look at it, And so I would ask myself, that's your first S&Me question. And I would ask myself, okay, why am I in debt? Now, let me roll back and say this real quickly before I talk about making money moves. We are not schizophrenic, okay? The average Black American is not schizophrenic. It is not correct that we should be working 40 hours a week. And just because you get a latte or just because you get your nails done, all of a sudden your budget is upended, okay? I have been studying this for years now. There is a very real and very serious, quickly growing wealth gap in this United States of America. If you are working 40 hours a week, you should be able to pay your bills.
Wait, hold on. And we can't, this is an educational platform.
It's an educational platform.
We got to say that again, because there are some people that may be listening to us and saying, Dr. Williams, Dr. Hill, that's easy for you to say because you doctor this and you doctor that. Okay. So when you tell our listening audience, the average everyday person, that model is something wrong with that model, why are we saying this? What are we really communicating to them? Why doesn't that model work?
Yeah. So what happens is the model of just going to work, let me say that, does not work in the United States for us. And that is because the rate of inflation is eating up the actual dollar that you are making out of your 40-hour-a-week job. Okay. Inflation is eating that dollar up quickly, which simply means that if you're even getting a 3% raise, that raise is not keeping up with the amount of inflation for you going to buy eggs, going to buy bread. If bread used to be $2 and you could make it and still go get your nails done, but now bread is $5. You see, you're having to make what some people are saying, these are not, you're making bad choices. Now, we do have responsibility,
right?
But I want the audience to know you are not schizophrenic. There is a real inflation that is rapidly eating up the dollar that you are making every day, 40 hours a week. So what do? We're going to have to pivot and we're going to have to shift. That means we are going to have to add things to our life portfolio. The first thing that I added when I decided I wanted to retire, and it was at 51 at the time, was I said, I have to get out of debt. I cannot retire with this debt. Because after I retired, I knew that whatever it is that I was working part-time, whatever job it is I was working part-time, the money that I was receiving would not catch up with the rate of inflation.
Right.
For me to still live the lifestyle that I lived while I was working.
Let me just break this down, okay, for the person that is still confused. Let's go back. You and I are probably pretty close in age. So I know we both can remember when you used to be able to go to the store and get 4 candy bars for $1.
Yes.
And then it went down to 3 candy bars for $1. And then it went down to 2 candy bars for $1. Now you can't get 1 candy bar for $1. That's what inflation is for anybody that's confused.
That's correct. That's correct.
Get that visual in your mind.
Let me give you another one. And I want to make this very practical. I was in one of our local department stores the other day in Walmart. Thank you, Walmart. Where I'm going to get one of those fresh loaves of bread. You know how you used to get the Italian loaf of bread, for $1. Now I picked up the loaf. It was half the size, and it was $1.75. $1.75.
Okay, inflation.
That's called inflation. So if you are still on your job, let's say you were making $20 an hour, and let's say you got a 3% raise, of which the government is going to take taxes off of the top of that 3% raise.
So you really didn't.
So even if you're bringing home an extra $2,000 that year, quote unquote, before taxes are taken out, you are pretty much getting a raise of about 75 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, I can calculate, yes, about 75 cents. That 75 cents was just eaten up by that half a loaf that you're trying to feed your family on. That used to be a full loaf.
Right.
Now that 75 cents is eaten up by that half a loaf of bread.
Okay, look, and here's the reality. You're getting a 75-cent raise, but guess who's getting multi-millions? Your CEO of the company. That's who's getting. I saw something the other day that said Musk, Mr. Musk, Mr. Doge himself, the one that went in and sliced with the chainsaw, took the chainsaw to the government. Now he is in talks with Tesla to make him a trillionaire.
That's correct.
Okay, let that sink in. So he has trillions of dollars, and you get a whole 75 cents.
Yes. And family, this is why this is so important. When we start talking about people becoming trillionaires, okay, I need for you to think about this. That is a now accelerated gap. The gap is, so what do I mean about the gap? The gap is that if someone is talking about being a trillionaire, and if we are still talking about being 5 figures,
which many of us are.
It used to be millions,
right?
Was the number.
Right.
And then now we have our first billionaires,
Right.
even some of them in the Black community that are popular. But when you start talking about trillionaires and we're still in 5 figures, okay, we need to start talking about money matters all year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we need to start talking about making money moves. And this is one of the first things. Number one is get out of bad debt. We have to get, and I know, listen, I did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I remember my husband and I being and I'm just going to talk openly, I'm a believer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm a believer. And the choices of being a believer, paying our tithes and also believing God and also paying our bills on time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you all, I remember when I was believing, and I remember it was on my heart to give my car away. We have 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to my husband, and he's just as crazy as I am.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, why not? Go ahead, just give it away. And we were doing that so because we knew that we could not just work in this natural realm to make things work for us. And we went without a car for a year, driving as a five-member family. And I remember taking it was something that happened that year. When we were riding along, something happened in me. The first thing was, and family, this is what we got to do. You got to become your own CEO. It broke in me. Something happened when I needed to ride. I remember one time my husband couldn't come and get me, and I had a doctor's appointment and I needed to walk somewhere. And I didn't want to call him. My friends were working. He was working, and the truck was off somewhere. And I said, no, I'm gonna feel this. I'm going to feel this. A mom with 3 children, a full-time job. I'm going to feel walking these 3 miles, which is not far. People do it in other countries all the time. Reframe it daily. And I thought, I need to walk. I need to lose weight, you know. But the sheer fact of us not having, the fear of not having, when we started doing things like that, number one, family, you need to do that because it breaks the fear of not having. So if I had to start all over again, you know what I'm saying? I have a framework for, you know what, I've been here before. Becoming my own CEO was the first thing. I had to own both the debt and I had to own the money that was coming in. Okay. So getting out of bad debt was number one. That's the first thing we're going to talk about at Making Money Moves on January 10th. And just tactics that I use, not just tactics of, okay, getting your budget, make sure you're writing everything down. And I understand that. And we do that. But it's also tactics on how you treat yourself as a CEO, that there were times when I needed to write a proposal on myself because I wanted someone to fund me. I wanted to fund a particular, if I had a land purchase, let's say, for example, in this case, I didn't, it was a vehicle purchase. And I felt that I wanted to purchase this particular vehicle. My name is Shonda. I would like to drive a Honda. Let me go ahead and develop a media brand for that, send that off, and you guys fund that for me. So you can help me pay off my car.
Wow. Okay. I want to put a plug right there and go back. We're going to go back and then we got to come forward. This is some good stuff, you guys. If you are just tuning in this morning, we have the incomparable Dr. Shonda Allen Hill in the studio this morning, and we're talking about making money moves in 2026. Dr. Hill, you mentioned your faith. And one of the things that Dr. Williams has been doing recently, I've made up my mind that I'm going to do some things differently walking into 2026, because what I see really as a community, and certainly I can attest to this in my own life, is that sometimes we don't really realize who we're dealing with, the God that we're dealing with. We are all, many of us in our community are people of faith. We've grown up in the church all of our lives. We go every Sunday, we pay our tithes, but we operate in a mindset of lack. It's like the word tells us that God is a God of abundance, but we don't operate like that. We don't operate like everything that we see is his And if he gave us something that he could give us more of it, we don't operate like that. We say we believe.
Yes, yes.
But we really trust God
Wow.
to be the God that we know he can be? Do we trust him to be that same God for us that he was of Job? That even if we subtract some things, because sometimes we think our growth is about adding to us, and sometimes it's about subtracting from us in order for us to actually grow. And so, for me, I have decided that 2026 will look differently in my own life because I am going to take him at his word in 2026. I feel like this ministry that he has given me, through helping my people with getting their affairs in order, I think that there is so much more work that can be done. So much more work that can be done. I wanted to make that point. And I also wanted to say something about this concept of being your own CEO, your first CEO, and of selling yourself. Now, what I want to challenge our community to think about is, even with that, we as a people have to operate and learn how to operate within a system of integrity. And I'm just going to call it as it is. Some of you that's listening to my voice probably know what I'm dealing with and what I'm talking about this morning. I have always had a passion for my people and helping my people. But the reality is, some of us are not really ready yet when it comes to our integrity and doing what we say that we're going to do. Okay, let that sink in.
That's right.
Because when you go and you present yourself as Shonda, looking for her Honda and looking for somebody to support that dream and that vision, that means you have to be willing to do what you say that you're going to do. Because when you don't, you put other people who have believed in you and who have done what they needed to do to help you in a very bad position. And that's the problem that we operate in within our community. It's not so much that there's a lack of people that are willing to help us. It's that we're not operating within the realm that we should be operating in. Your thoughts on that?
Yes. Well, I tell you, let me say, that's all around the world. People, and I love this. One of our sisters, older sisters, she reminds us, she said, baby, people are people. Are people.
That's true.
And what we feel in our community, what happens in our community, though, is the margins that we have to actually make mistakes, the margins that we have to not be integrous, the margins are smaller than they are in other communities.
True.
So we really feel it more.
True.
We feel it more.
True.
Okay. So if we are 13% of the population, and let's say we have, 2% that's not integrous, our community feels that more because our community is much smaller and we're also very tight knit. But to that point, even though it is, that means, you guys, that we do have to step up to the plate. And we have to be a more integrous and a more tight knit group. If you say, my folks used to say, if you say you're going to do it, do it. Okay. Your word is your bond. And also the discipline of actually doing things. Here's what I learned that year too. Just riding around either with my family or not riding around at all.
Walking.
Walking or whatever it is, or just choosing not to do certain things. The thing that I learned, we're going to have to put ourselves in, I would rather put myself in high discipline areas that I choose to put myself in versus high discipline areas that my job or my boss or the bill company chooses to put me in. And what that does for us, you all, is number one is challenge yourself. As Shonda, challenge yourself to find something this week that is not easy, not drastically difficult, but not easy. Put yourself in that position and work your way out of it. Something happens when you start building your faith muscle, when you start building your integrity muscle. Something happens when you start doing that. And the thing that I did learn about that year when we were just kind of off and we just had the one vehicle If I promised someone to do something, I had to work with my family in order to make that schedule work, in order to go pick somebody else up, because ministry still went on.
Right.
My husband's a pastor, and so ministry still goes on. But I had to do that. In that process, though, if you discipline yourself, I want to tell you the other side of it. Things didn't work out just magically. I'm going to tell you that.
Right.
It didn't work out just magically.
No, instant.
This is not
That's
a
what we want,
microwave thing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
There is no magic in the kingdom. There's no microwave either. But what happened is my mindset changed about my money. And this is the thing, family. We want our mindset to change about your money. That dollar is yours. You will get integrity. Now, I will tell you, work and discipline will help you get that dollar.
Right.
But your integrity first to yourself will help you grow it.
And education is going to help you.
No. Let me tell you, your integrity will help you grow the dollar, but the education is going to help you compound it.
Right.
And what we're working on this year in 2026, y'all, we want rapid growth. We want compounded growth. That's what this station does. This station helps you to compound. Okay, that's a whole different level.
That's true.
All right, that's
true.
a different level.
That's true.
So from there, going back to the vehicle, I went ahead and got a. From there, I saved up enough money to get. It's time to get a small car, used car. Bought it outright, $5,000. But I didn't want to have a car note. That was the whole point. The next step was
wait. Hold on. I got to pause there because we've had this conversation before. I know Mr. Jones and I have talked about this before.
And we might have to have a part 2 now. I don't want us to go over schedule now, but you know,
look,
this is good.
This is some
This
good
will
stuff.
save you,
This
people.
is some good
It'll
stuff.
save you.
So that whole idea, Dr. Hill, okay. We sometimes convince ourselves that we need a quote unquote new car. We need transportation sometimes. We need reliable transportation.
Yes.
And what Dr. Williams has learned is, when a new car rolls off the lot, it depreciates immediately. The value drops. So what I have learned how to do is go find the most reliable used car that I can find.
Exactly.
That is within my budget.
Exactly.
So when I go, and we talked about this on the show before, there's a difference in going to purchase a car and going to finance one.
Yes.
That's not the same thing.
It's not the same.
That is not the same thing.
It's not the same.
I defer to you. Go ahead.
It's not the same. Listen, folks, I know what it's like. If you don't know this term, to be upside down in a vehicle. That means you are riding in a vehicle where you owe more than what the car is worth. I decided then that I would never do that again. You got to have some nevers in your life. So from riding around with my family on that one vehicle, I said the mindset of taking charge of my life opened up that, you know what? You can buy a car outright. Just save up enough money. I had $5,200 I was able to save up. Okay. I went to this gentleman. I did research on like a 2002 older model Lexus ES300. People ask me to buy that car still right now. I say no. Okay, that's called Bessie. Betsy, I still family. I still ride in Bessie. Yes, she shakes and spits and sputters, but I still ride in her. Why? Because she's car note free.
Exactly.
She's good to me. She's good to me. Dr. Williams, she's good to me. Okay. From that one little step of pushing to save $5,200, I rode without a car note for 8 years. That money I took, I then could start saving that money to dream about retiring.
Right.
It's a step process.
Right.
It's a step process. So people say, how do you make a big move on like retiring at 51 debt free? Well, you don't make a big move.
Mm-hmm.
You eat an elephant one small bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Right? And so once I rolled, and listen, y'all are going to see me in Bessie soon, because I'm going to ride up in Bessie at the Making Money Moves conference. Okay.
Okay, so you mentioned that a few times, but guess what? We haven't really officially talked about the Making Money Moves conference. So go ahead. Come on, let's tell our audience about the Making Money Moves conference. Give me 1 second. We got to go to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about making money moves in 2026. I'll throw it to you, Mr. Jones.
We
got to get out of here.
Jackson, Mississippi.
Talk about making money moves. So before you go. All right, we're back. If you're just tuning in this morning, you have missed some good stuff. I'm going to recommend that you go over to I Am So Noted on YouTube. That's I-A-M-S-E-W N-O-T-E-D, because we have the incomparable Dr. Shonda Allen Hill in the house this morning, right here in the studio at WMPR 90.1. And we have been talking about making money moves in 2026. Now, that is not just the title of our show. That is not just the theme of our conversation. That is also an upcoming event in 2026. And I'm going to let Dr. Hill tell you all about it. Go
Absolutely.
ahead.
Quickly, Making Money Moves, January 10th is going to be right here in the neighborhood, Greater Mount Bethel Church, right here, 1425 Robinson Road, starting at 10 a.m. And we are just going to share about debt relief, getting out of debt, starting onboarding activities to invest. Okay, get your family in investing. We're going to share about the main areas right now that we need to be focused on with this $85 trillion wealth transfer that's going on, that the bulk of it is going to inherited folks.
Right.
But the money is in circulation.
Right.
We need to position ourselves to do it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to round off talking a little bit about real estate and the importance of some of these evergreen fields, some of the high yielding fields that folks can hop into right now.
Okay.
So those are our main areas for Making Money Moves.
And this conference again is when?
January 10th, Saturday, January 10th. It's going to be at Greater Mount Bethel Church, right here on 1425 Robinson Road.
Okay, so for those that may be listening, because we have a viewing audience as well as a listening audience, they have heard you speak, and I know they love you because I love you. I got to meet this Dr. Shonda Allen Hill. How do they register if they want to participate in the conference? Because I know you've sold them on it now, and they want to come meet Dr. Shonda Allen Hill. How do they register for this conference?
So you can go ahead, you know what? You can go ahead and send Shonda@rightwhereyouare.com. That's one way, Shonda@rightwhereyouare.com. I've made it quite easy. We just have a Google Doc where we're collecting registrations. But for this audience, let's make it simple. Shonda@rightwhereyouare, RIGHTWHERE, the letter U, the letter R.com. Okay, you can email me there and I'll go ahead and take care of it right away. You can also look on Facebook, Shonda Allen Hill. I'm on Facebook. All of the registration links are there as well. So very, very easy. Very easy.
And is there, what is the registration cost for the conference?
It's free. This is a community event.
Now, y'all, let me just say this. If we talked about just a few minutes ago, investing in your education. Now, sometimes you have to invest your money, Dr. Allen Hill. Sometimes you have to invest your time.
Yes.
You have to make a time investment. Now, if Dr. Hill has taken her time to put together this conference, then certainly, if you know, and only you know what your financial situation is, but if you know, based on what you've heard her say, that you can benefit from this information, please go ahead and make an investment of your time. Again, one more time, Dr. Hill, tell us where the conference is and when it is and how to register.
Absolutely. So it is on Saturday, January 10th, 2026. It's going to be at 1425 Robinson Road, Robinson Street, right here in Jackson, Mississippi at Greater Mount Bethel Church. Starts at 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And you can register on my Facebook, Shonda Allen Hill. Just go to Shonda Allen Hill. It's pinned at the top. Or you can go ahead and send an email to Shonda@rightwhereyouare.com. And that's Shonda, like the car Honda with an S, Honda.
Shonda, like the car Honda.
And so I would love to hear from you. We are so excited for this year.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Hill. We appreciate your time and we appreciate you dropping by So Talks Money and More this morning to just really encourage us and our listeners, basically enlighten us, because there are a lot of things happening. And I know you're like me, you're a student. So we know what's going on, and we're just excited to share this with our community, because we do envision a different world for our people. But you got to do your part, listening audience, viewing audience. You have to show up. You have to show up to get the information. We can make money moves in 2026. We can do this, but you've got to first work on your mindset, and that's what we're here to help you do. Dr. Hill, it has been a pleasure having you in the studio. I got a few things that I got to wrap up here. An outro. Oh, so look at that! I signed up. All righty. Come on through. We see you, Mr. Malik. Mr. Malik, we look forward to seeing you at the conference. And I am so excited again to have this beautiful queen sitting next to me. You guys, she's a jewel. She is walking by example. And sometimes we just have to see people who have done it. We can feel so overwhelmed by what we think we are carrying. But to see others who have said, okay, I know it's not easy. I have made the sacrifice. I've been where you are. That's a beautiful thing, you guys. We're right here in Jackson, Mississippi. We have people that are encouraging you to do it. You can do it. You can do it. And we want you to show up and support this conference. Show up and support her. Okay, Dr. Hill, so good to have you. Wonderful. We love you. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
All righty. To our So Talks Money and More viewing and listening audience, if you are just tuning in, you guys, you've missed a powerful episode this morning. We are talking about money moves, making money moves in 2026. The wealth gap is widening, you all. It is widening. We got folks out here playing chess, and we playing checkers. They are playing chess. When people start talking about becoming trillionaires, and we haven't even made it to the millionaire mark. Many of us haven't made it to the millionaire mark. Certainly haven't made it to the billionaire mark. The wealth gap is continuously rising. It is rising. We can do something about it. You know how I know? Because we as a community, we wield so much economic power in our own hands. Statistics show that by 2026, which is just a few days from now, Black buying power is projected to exceed $2 trillion with a T dollars annually. So that means we are putting that kind of money in somebody else's hands. And the reality is, you guys, we're not spending it in our communities. We are not. You know how I know? Go drive in our communities and look at them. We ain't spending the money with us. We are not. We are putting the money in other folks' community. And somehow in our minds, we're okay with that. We are okay with that. We got to shift our thinking. We have got to spend some time in 2026 working on our mindset. Please, I'm encouraging you. I'm begging you. Turn off the TV. Get out of that reality TV stuff. That is not your reality. Get out of that. That is not them housewives and all that mess. That's not your reality. Turn that mess off. Go educate yourself. Get the mirror out. If you want some reality, take the mirror out. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what is your financial situation? What does that look like? And I can minister unto you. You know why? Because Dr. Williams is ministering unto herself. 2026 is going to look different in the Williams household too. I just told you earlier, my husband is retired now. We got to do some things differently in our household because we are still on a pathway to building, protecting, and putting things in place to properly transfer our wealth. So I'm encouraging you, turn that mess off and educate yourself. Show up at these quote unquote free conferences. And see, Dr. Williams is moving differently. I've been doing free for a long time now, but I find that people value those things that they're willing to invest in. So Dr. Williams won't be doing a whole lot of free in 2026. If you're not willing to make the investment in yourself, then hey, that says a lot about you. Because as we said, we invest in cars, we invest in clothes, we invest in convenience. If somebody says something about going to the boat, going on a cruise, we ready to go. We will find a way to get the money. We go to the finance company or wherever we got to go to get the money to go on the cruise. Think about that. Invest in yourself. Invest in your own knowledge. I'm talking to everybody that's listening to my voice that is not doing that. My question to you, how many books do you own? How many books on financial literacy are in your household? I can't count the number of books that's in mine. My question is, how many in yours? What are you investing in? How many, all the gifts that you putting under the Christmas tree, under somebody, yours and somebody else's, how many of those involve financial literacy? How many of those gifts? Think about that. We took money out of our households, that money that flowed into our households, and we went and put it in somebody else's hands. What return are we getting on that investment? I just want you to think about that. See, I'm not doing this Christmas stuff because it doesn't make sense to me anymore. We say we celebrating Jesus' birth, although we don't really know when he went, what the actual birth date was. Does it really matter? No. We know he was born. No, based on what we've been taught, he was born. So if you celebrating somebody else's birthday, how many of you actually give other folks gifts on your birthday? Think about that. And that somehow makes sense to us. Every year we go through the same cycle of giving gifts to other people when we say we celebrating somebody else. Ask yourself, for those of you, I went to a birthday party on Saturday. My God, baby, 40 years old. She getting, look, somebody getting old around here, 40 years old. My God, baby. But now what I remember, Mr. Jones, what I remember about that party, it was a beautiful party, beautiful party, beautiful party. There were gifts given, but I don't remember not one gift going to anybody other than the person that was being celebrated. Come on, people, we got to do better. That's why we don't have no money. Traditions are breaking us. They're keeping us broke. We've got to break some of these traditions. I'm sorry. Somebody needed to say it, and I said it. And before I take it back, I'll add to it. We got to break some of these traditions. Now it's time for me to go. I know I got to close the show this morning. This has been some good stuff. If you missed this one, as I say, go on over to my YouTube page. We got it posted up there for you. We had Dr. Shonda Allen Hill in the studio this morning that was telling us about the upcoming Making Money Moves conference that will be held on January the 10th. Inviting you to please participate in that conference. We can do better. We've got to do better. Now, as I close today's show, I got to be transparent with you for just 1 minute. Mr. Jones, give me just a little grace and leave right here. I came into the studio this morning, you guys, with a very heavy heart. Very heavy heart. Death is all around us. Death is all around us. The last few weekends, I have either been at a funeral or there were just times when I just felt overwhelmed that I couldn't go because it's just all around us. Just yesterday, I started my day yesterday morning with a text of one of my classmates lost her brother who had been in a battle with some health concerns. Before I could go to bed last night, I received a text from my girlfriend. Oh, let me back up. Received a text message, attended a funeral. Then last night, before I could go to bed, I received a text message from a girlfriend that she had lost her mother. You guys, we are leaving here. We are leaving this world. And that should be of no surprise to any of us Because again, as believers, we know we didn't come here to stay. We just passing through. And most of us are going to have to experience this thing called death before we get out of here, unless the good Lord comes back and we all caught up in the sky. But if not, we got to experience this thing called death. He told us that was going to be the case. So with that being said, I have to, again, before I leave the air today, I have to challenge us to get our affairs in order. I have to do that, y'all. It's so much death all around us. Think about it. I want you to just look around your table on Christmas Day. Look around your Christmas tree and ask yourself, who's missing? Who was here last year that's not here this year? And ask yourself, who will not be here next year that's here this year? Think about that, because it may just be you. And if it is you, I want to challenge you. Leave your family in good shape. Don't just leave them behind. Don't just check out on them. Leave them behind in very good shape. Even if you can't leave them $1 million life insurance policy, at least leave them behind with your funeral prepaid. At a minimum, do that, y'all. Please listen to Dr. Williams. Folks are struggling. People are struggling right now. And we're talking about a wealth gap that's widening and widening and widening. People are struggling trying to buy groceries, trying to pay for gas, trying to pay for bills. The last thing they want to be paying for is to put your behind in the ground. Last thing they want to be paying for. That's your responsibility. Now, as I close the show today, on Thursday, if we live to see it, we will be celebrating another Christmas. I want to encourage each and every one of you to take the time to really, really enjoy your families. I wish you safe travels. I know many people will be on the road. I have some friends that are up on the road this morning. You know who you are. I see you tuned in, listening to me this morning. Please travel safely. We know that a lot of people are out there, a lot of distracted drivers. You make sure that you are focused on the highway as you are traveling, on the skyways as you are traveling. Spend time talking to your family. Talk to your family while you are together, while you have breath in your body. Make sure that they know what your wishes are while you are together. We are certainly praying that all of us make it through this Christmas holiday. And on the other side, we will see you back, if the good Lord says the same, on next Monday for another episode of So Talks Money and More. And I want to encourage those of you that are listening to me this morning, please make sure you tune in. That will be our last episode for the year. Please make sure that you tune in on next Monday, because I have a couple of major announcements to make. There are some great things that's happening over at So Noted. And we are looking forward to sharing those things with our listening audience. Again, I wish each and every one of my viewing audience, as well as my listening audience, a very Merry Christmas. Shout out to my Cali folks for tuning in. Y'all up early, supporting. We love you. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you next Monday. If it's Monday, so is Talking Money and More. Peace.
The views and opinions